Judge is barring the Trump administration from deporting an Indian academic from Georgetown University. This comes after the Department of Homeland Security accused him of having ties to Hamas.
The judge's ruling prohibits federal officials from deporting Badar Khan Suri, a postdoctoral fellow at the university, in an order that is to remain in effect until it is lifted by the court. We want to bring in Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this. So he is currently at a detention center in Louisiana. He was taken, his family knew nothing about what was going on. Was that legal? The way he was taken, where's the due process, I guess, in all of this?
I think that's what his attorney's arguing as well, that there has to be some type of due process. There is a number of ways that you can remove someone without, and I say skirting the due process portion, and that's what the Trump administration has attempted to do with this alien act that they've attempted to use the last couple times, specifically with the folks from Venezuela, removing them, saying that they're terrorists, saying that they have gang connections, saying that they have, invaded our country, right? And so that's the process. I believe that's what they're attempting to do here. If you look at some of the posts that the Assistant Secretary of Department of Homeland Security has said on social media, that is the angle that she's attempting to go. And if that is the angle, yes, the Trump administration would be within their right to circumvent the due process that is normally in place for a person that has a green card or has a student visa, that is entitled to some rights, that has an opportunity to be heard and is protected. Their speech is protected just like you and I. And so if that is the allegation, and as they say here, she mentions that his speech on social media is problematic, that he's spreading and promoting Hamas propaganda. And because of those actions and his close ties to Hamas, specifically his father-in-law, those are the reasons that they're listing that he should be able to be deported without going through the normal process. His attorneys hit back and say, he's not an activist, he's an academic. This is a doctor that's here to study, that's attempting to advance his beliefs. The judge obviously agreed with their argument and is requesting that the Trump administration provide more receipts. Show me why this person needs to be deported without going through the normal process.
Khalif, where does the burden of proof lie here in proving this? Because it is potentially setting a dangerous precedent where the administration can just say, I don't like who you're favoring here. I want you out of the country.
Not just I don't like who you're favoring. I don't like what you're saying.
Right.
This is a First Amendment speech argument, and they list that they don't like his speech. And so I think that's where it will start to have problems, because you're allowed to say whatever you want. This is a free country. As long as you're not threatening someone, as long as you're not making, allegations of committing some type of crime against another person. But if you're saying that I am promoting and supporting Palestine, is what he's saying on his post, and they've labeled those as anti-Semitic comments, I think that is going to be problematic, is that that's your only rationale. So then they support it with his close ties to his father-in-law. His attorney listed out all the relationships and how there was distance between there. I think this is opening up Pandora's box. If the government is looking at your social media posts, he wasn't doing this at a protest. He wasn't standing in the middle of the square and shouting these things. He was writing this on his social media posts and commenting on the allegations, on the things that are happening of the day. I think this is going to be problematic as we go forward, but these are the things that are happening now. You're still the thing with the Columbia student. You're seeing this right here. You saw the other professor. These types of arrests are happening, detentions, I should say, are happening where folks are getting arrested in New York, in Columbia, and then getting taken to Louisiana and getting deported before they even know what happened.
We've had stories here before where there were pro-Palestinian rallies or protests, even though they were small. UNC Chapel Hill campus. That's happened in the past before. If people are watching going, why does this matter to me? Why should we care what's happening with one individual? On a larger scale, what's sort of the warning flag that we should at least all be paying attention to with this?
I can just take it to what the courts have said regarding speech. If the government is attempting to chill, to stop, to silence, to diminish your ability to speak, they can do that. The government has the ability to do that, but it has to be content neutral. It cannot be that I'm telling you that I don't like what you're saying, and because I don't like what you're saying, you're not allowed to speak. What the government can do is something called time, place, and manner. I don't want you to speak here. You can speak down the street. You can speak at 12 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock. We're having another presenter come. I'm not going to let you speak when they're speaking, but you can speak after them. That is constitutional, that's normal. Where it gets extremely problematic and where you see all the challenges is where the government is saying, you know what, I don't like your speech. I want you to stop saying these specific things. Now it has to be narrowly tailored. Now it has to be a compelling public interest. So what would be the compelling public interest here? Well, national security. this person is speaking and doing things that is hurting our national security. And so we have an ability to not only chill his speech, but to deport him out of this country. Those are the steps that they're attempting to take. So to the one person, if they're a student that's wanting to protest and you are someone that's here on a student visa, this has a deterrent effect. This has a chilling effect to say they've chilled his speech, and not only have they chilled his speech, they've removed him from the country. I might be in that same position to be removed as well. So it does have a twofold effect, and it is troubling because if you're someone in that situation, you may not have the resources to file a lawsuit to stop your deportation. This individual luckily did, and now he's in a situation where the court will determine if he actually has done something that he should be deported by.
And again, the irony of the administration saying they're the party for free speech and First Amendment rights. Khalif, we're going to have you back on another topic in just a bit. Our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes.